I got my hands up. I surrender. I surrender. No more pretender. Who's my defender? So today, I feel sad and I feel angry. And as I listen to the fly buzzing in my living room and the airplane outside, and I am fully aware of how frustrated I feel and how painful it is to be alive at times. Even though life is a gift, sometimes life really is painful emotionally and physically uncomfortable at times as well. Recently, I was a fly on the wall as an art model. I'm grateful that I can earn a living doing something that my nervous system is good at, but I would be lying if I didn't admit that sometimes I feel frustrated that I'm not able to participate with my peers in a certain way. And I observed last night people that I've known for 20 or 30 years. Some of these people I've known for 30 years, some of them 20 years, celebrating their artistic accomplishments. And then I think to being in third grade and coming home from school and feeling left out and excluded, and then figuring out that I've always wanted to somehow belong in a family or a social group, but I've always wanted to be my authentic self, which is not somebody who really blends in. And then I think about trying stand-up comedy. Pretty sure that if I tried stand-up comedy, I would totally fail. To succeed means to make people laugh. To fail would be if nobody laughed. Whereas in most situations, you don't want people to laugh at you or with you. But when you're a stand-up comic, you want people to laugh. And I was thinking I could make jokes about being a loner, but I'm not a serial killer. I assure you, I'm not a serial killer. You know how some like people, like usually when people are accused of being serial killers and it turns out to be true, they're loners. They say, oh, that person was very unusual and a loner. So I'm like thinking, I'm kind of a loner, but I'm not a serial killer. I assure you of that. As far as I know, I'm not a serial killer. So, um, if I'm allowed to joke about things like that, because you know, these days you gotta be careful what you say. So I am grateful that I'm alive. I'm grateful that I'm involved in all of the creative things that I'm involved in my career and that I work with other people, but I feel like I need a break from the routine and the freedom to explore different avenues and the freedom to be misunderstood and the freedom of feeling all of my emotions, anger, fear, sadness, grief, denial, protest, rebellion. And I'm noticing a lot of really loud airplanes out the window. Gonna get artesian water later today, hoping to finish my new poetry book and dream book. About 10 years ago, I went back to college to finish my BA degree. and I did finish it. And I took a class on dreams and memoirs and books by hand. So I'm re-examining and exploring what I wrote 10 years ago and wanting to publish it. So I self-publish and I self-produce because I'm an oxymoron through the door, a group for loners, and we all showed up. So my name is Shannon Nicole Kringen. That's Shannon is Irish, Nicole is French, Kringen is Norwegian. And I wrote a song about being a figure model. I'm going to write a new song about being nude in the forest, about being a free range human being in the forest. I want to concentrate on what I'm grateful for while simultaneously acknowledging what is frustrating to me. And then I keep fluctuating my ideas. I keep thinking about the time I've spent meditating and doing, some people say vipassana, some people say vipassana. I've done 2.5 silent meditation retreats for 10 days. I made it through the first two. The third time I tried it, I left early. I snuck out at dawn and then I told them, I can't do this. I'm sorry. I'm fine. Don't worry. But I had to leave. I left. So I didn't finish that. But I did it twice. And I liked being told that I didn't need to. In fact, we weren't supposed to make eye contact with each other. You go for 10 days with 50, wait, I think it's 50 men and 50 women, and you're all meditating together for 10 days, and they feed you, and it's Vipassana, Vipassana. I don't really know how to pronounce it, if it's Vipassana or Vipassana, but I say Vipassana, but there's part of me that likes the more spiritual way of doing things, which is to be very humble and just sort of let go and drop your ego. And I love to just be a kind, cooperative person. And then I guess it's my ego that wants to step in and be competitive and win a contest and be a famous artist. Like maybe it's my ego that wants to be some kind of famous person that people appreciate and recognize. And then it's my more spiritual side that doesn't really care about that and just wants to love people and have them love me in whatever capacity. Take care of people's dogs and cats and pets, and walk dogs and pet sit, be an art model and be very humble. People think that some people that have never modeled before that think to be an art model means that you have to look amazing and be perfect and be some kind of idealized version of a human. I don't see art modeling like that. Art modeling is a very physically demanding job. I've done it since 1992 or 93. I think I started in 93, but it might have been 92. I'm not sure exactly, but I think it was the winter of 93 when I started. And it requires you to just be comfortable with everybody basically looking at you with, obviously the positive intent. They're not staring at you in a creepy way, obviously. They're staring at you, they're observing you to draw you. And your job is just to hold still and twist and turn and take asymmetrical, interesting poses while they draw you and paint you. And it's not about looking perfect. Although I have had painters say that they like my Scandinavian skin tones. I have a lot of apparently alizarin crimson, sap green and yellow ochre in my hair and pinkish alizarin crimson type tones in my Scandinavian, whatever, Norwegian skin tone or Irish skin tone with freckles. And The freckles are from the Irish part of me. Maybe the reddish, pinkish skin is sort of the Scandinavian Norwegian side of me. So maybe in my eyes are kind of like a greenish, grayish, bluish, hazel color. A lot of times painters come up to me and they go, "What color are your eyes?" It's hard to figure out what my eye color even is. And depending on what I wear, my eye color changes. So when I say amplified chameleon getting her dreams on, here's a collage of me, and me. He has a 3-year-old, me with a black wig. The camera won't focus, sorry, because I have it on a weird filter. But that's all the different facets of me. Me being kind of a shapeshifter that I am, me with a black wig on. But for the camera to focus on that. But I'm kind of fascinated by the idea of shapeshifting and being different kinds of people. I guess I love to model for myself. I love to model for other people. I am trying. These are all self-portraits. There's me at Burning Man. There's me in Florida at a clothing optional Loxahatchee, Florida. There's me at the Triple Door restaurant in Seattle in the restroom. They have beautiful lighting. And that is me in Seattle. Okay, camera focus with face paint. So whatever, that face paint that I did myself. So the idea of shape-shifting and experimenting with different personas, like an actor, like a model and an actor. Everything I do is improvisation and including this video. And I'm just feeling really moody today. Part of me is really grateful. Part of me is really angry. Part of me feels gaslit and misunderstood by other people. Part of me feels frustrated that I think people are condescending to me and they don't realize how intelligent I am. But then maybe it's egotistical of me to even judge other people. Maybe I'm the one who's being an egomaniac by judging other people, but then I think I listen to people talk about Jungian psychology and to embrace your own shadow, to look at your own dark side. A lot of people don't want to look at their own dark side. They'd rather just point their fingers. Clearly, a lot of politicians have a dark side that we can see right now. But I think that we also need to acknowledge that famous politicians and actors and singers and dancers and movie stars, people in the public eye that are famous for whatever reason, we like to project onto them. The general public projects positive and negative traits. We think of famous people as heroes or villains. And that makes us feel better about ourselves as regular civilians, perhaps. So there's shadow projection, but then if you look at your own shadow, your own dark side, the side of you that's competitive, like I know that I sometimes feel jealous, competitive with other people, and defensive and jealous and all this kind of negative stuff. And I envy other people and I feel jealous of other people. And then I feel like, well, that's really creepy and it's uncomfortable to see that about myself. And I don't want to dwell and beat myself up for having a dark side, but I am pretty hyper aware of my dark side. Maybe I'm not enough aware. I sometimes feel like I'm more ashamed of my beauty and my talent than I am of my flaws, which is weird. It's like I have this fear of success, or like I don't think I deserve success. Or if I become successful, it means that I'm an egomaniac narcissist or something like that. And so that's really judgmental of me to think those thoughts. But then I think that, and then here's me in Florida. I think this is like, gosh, this was probably 2005, 6, or 7. I can't remember what year that is, but I painted, that's face paint that I put on. And I have this kind of look on my face, like I'm like trying to figure out what's really going on. That's usually how I feel. So I know I'm an intelligent person, but no matter what I say, it'll be misunderstood. And no matter what I say, and then I think, well, nothing really matters anyway. Everything on this earth is temporary. I'm here on this earth. I was born in 1968, and I'm here trying to make the best of whatever I can do. I am blessed with my career. And I sometimes think my personal life is very unhappy, but then I realize I'm kind of a loner and I kind of like that I spend most of my time by myself when I'm not working with other people. I mean, like I have a few friends I don't really have any female friends. I mean, I have women that I talk to, but I'm not very close to very many women. I find that very sad. It makes my stomach hurt to think about it, but I know that's my own responsibility to fix that and to try to become um, to bond with other women as a friend. And I don't know how to do that. I don't have any brothers or sisters, so I don't want to put myself down though, but I just want to acknowledge that most of my friends are guys, whether they're gay or straight, I don't, doesn't matter to me, but I have a variety of male friends. Mostly I have male friends, and I have women, a lot of women that I work with in the art modeling and the medical modeling and the pet sitting that I do. Huh. Well, whatever. I don't know. I'm not really very close to very many people, and mostly I'm by myself in my apartment and running around, running errands, and I'm very frugal and organized and I'm really grateful that I have art car events coming up, and I took an acting class on voice. I was thinking of taking stand-up comedy, but I might have missed the deadline for that, so that might be off the table for now. I could just start writing jokes and start doing open mics somewhere. I don't know. I'm just trying to learning as I go, and then I think maybe it doesn't matter, and I'd rather just spend more time in the forest and get back into meditation, maybe get myself back into some psychotherapy, just to have somebody that I could talk to and say a bunch of really personal things that would be a safe, confidential place, space to share about my own life path and journey and what I'm doing with my time here, and having to deal with family issues that I have with each of my parents and navigate things transforming in that way. They're both very private people, so I'm not going to say anything, but I'm an only child, and so it's just me and my parents um, that live 3,000 miles away from each other. So kind of miss having a pet. I had a cat a few years ago and he passed away, and this is the first time in my life I haven't had a pet. I have pretty much continuously always had a cat for my entire life since I was a kid. Between my mom and my dad and me, all three of us, we always seem to have like a cat. And now I can take care of other people's pets and love other cats and dogs. I also love dogs, but I understand cats better than dogs, but I do love dogs and I love goats. I had goats in junior high. And I volunteer somewhere out in nature and get to be around animals, and I love that. So I just wanted to check in for the day and just say the mood I'm in today is a combination of angry and sad and yet grateful at the same time. And going to model for an art class and have a bunch of gigs coming up, and really excited to finish my poetry book that I'm working on, the sequel to Kringonian Pizzazz, which will be called Kring Flower, Song Lyric Book and Dreams. And what else? I'm excited about finishing the songs so we can have a second album come out. We have Kring Flower as our Dave Flowers and I from Interactive Jack Records. Our first album is called Kring Flower. Our second album is going to be called Amplified Chameleon, I think. So, and I made a special mix called Kring Flower XL, which has 17 songs on it that Dave Flowers and I created ourselves. It's my poetry and my voice, and Dave Flowers does the music. He does the mixing and the arranging. He plays synthesizer, he plays bass, he plays guitar. We have some real drums, and we have samples of drums. Dave has this amazing, he has analog and digital equipment. He's kind of a one-man band, and he has amazing um, samples of drums. So they're real drum sounds, but he can play the keyboard and it creates a drum sound. But it's very realistic because it's real drum sounds that are sampled into the device. I don't know what you call all the equipment he has, but he has both analog and digital, and he has real drums in his studio. And I learned three chords on the guitar. Um, I have a baby Taylor and a, a dreadnought Fender guitar that's open tuned and a nylon classical. I got these guitars for one of them was free, one of them was because it was damaged and somebody repaired it, and the other two were very inexpensive. Um, so I'm able to keep my guitars tuned, and I've learned three chords so far. What is it? G. I'll play it on video later. What is it? A minor, F minor, and G. I can't remember the names of the chords, but I wrote them down. I know how to play piano better than guitar. I am grateful for being alive and for making the best of whatever time I have on this earth. And I'm really frustrated that I feel, well, I'm a loner, so I guess I made my bed and I'm gonna lie in it. You know, I'm kind of a loner. I mean, most people don't understand me, and I don't understand them very well either, I guess. I don't know. That's kind of why I like being an art model because I don't have to make eye contact and talk to a lot of people. Although, I say hello and thank you, and I know how to communicate in a normal way and make actual eye contact with people and say hello, thank you, goodbye. Here's my form. Here's my timesheet, basic communication. And when I work with medical students, I'm given a script and I make a lot of eye contact and I act out medical scenarios. So I know how to do all of that. I guess give myself credit for that. I'm working on different paintings. I'm working on poetry and paintings and music. It would be nice if I could just relax and stop thinking I need to achieve anything. Maybe I'm achieving enough. One thing I need to achieve is the ability to relax and take a break and rest. Okay, so that's all for now. It is, what is it? May 4th, 2025, and that ain't no jive. And I'm still alive. So follow your heart and your dreams, do what you love. That's my advice to myself and to you. Follow your bliss, as Joseph Campbell said, because if you do what you love, it could lead you down a path of synchronicity. Doors open in ways that you can't really predict, and things can happen. Serendipity and synchronicity can happen in ways that you may or may not be able to predict. So, things happen and we learn as we go. That's kind of how I feel right now. So bye for now. I'm just going to work on my poetry and organize myself for the art modeling gig and getting some artesian well water and doing all the other things that I'm going to do today, which is organize some of my interesting costumes. I recently got some sparkly, interesting fabric items really, really inexpensively. There's a thrift store you can go and pay for clothing by the pound. And so you can get like a huge bag full of clothes for like $11, like really inexpensive. Like every item is like $1 or $2. And I find lots of really sparkly costume type clothing that I can use for events and in my art car and for art modeling gigs and for creative projects, photo projects, etc. That's kind of fun. I'm also gluing some rhinestones onto a canvas. I'm making a mosaic like my art car opal moonstone. I'm doing a canvas that's got a mosaic pattern of rhinestones influenced by the shapes I see in nature. Just making it up as I go. So have a nice day, everyone. Thank you for being here. Bye for now. This is Shannon Nicole Kringen in Seattle, experimental human, Homo sapien on planet Earth. Bye for now. Bye.